विमेंस डबल्स इवेंट में जापान और म्यांमार का मुकाबला अभी आपके सामने आने वाला है।
The teams are all set. The players are all guns blazing. It's the big semi-finals. It's do or die. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Team Myanmar.
Myanmar will be the favourites in this contest. They won their group, finishing ahead of Iran, whom we just saw. They're all smiles, very confident. They've got three very good players out there. They're going to start with Jutan and Mongzin. Nin Wai on the bench. May well see her come into action later on.
From the land of rising sun, the samurais are all here to show up their skill. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Team Japan.
Oh, about to say a little bit of an understated entry for them, but they've decided, okay, we're going to stand there, going to put our game faces on, cross our arms, and then have a little bit of a giggle afterwards. They finished second in their group, could have beaten India in the group match and finished first. Toriumi is the captain, and then Kiyosawa is the one who's starting. Makio on the bench. She started the match against India, and then once Kiyosawa came on, she performed incredibly well at the nets, but couldn't turn things around against India. Interesting that they're starting with her. It's the decision that I would have taken myself, and if they're going to have any chance, then they need Kiyosawa firing at the net. Their coach as well, Yano Chiharu, a former player. Never made it into a final, an ISTAF final herself. Made it into the odd semi-final. Japan never really in amongst the medals, so it's great to see them winning at least a bronze here.
Both teams making changes to their starting lineup. It's good to see that Kiyosawa is starting for Japan because she played very well against India. On the other hand, if you talk about Myanmar, in the previous game they had started with Nin Wai, but now they've got Mongzin in the lineup right away along with Jutan.
Kiyosawa, the number 3. You can see her stretching her long limbs. She's going to be using those at the net.
She was particularly good in the second set against India. Made India sweat, made India work hard. Menunu and Terran Tombi, they really had to work their way around in that second set. Ultimately, India did get through 2-0, but Japan, they were spirited. Could see that good performance by Kiyosawa.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the ISTAF Sepaktakraw.
Best of 3 sets, first of 15. Whoever loses this still takes home a bronze medal, as will be the case with Iran. And whoever wins gets to face India in the final. That will be played on Sunday morning, day 4 of this ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025.
And that's the contest that we are all looking forward to. India have already made it through to the final. Over here, one would think that Myanmar are the favourites against Japan. Toriumi, the Japanese captain, will be the Tekong to begin. There's a roll spike by Mongzin to get things going.
One low. Point Japan.
Well, you might have been wondering why we were talking about Kiyosawa so much, and she just illustrated that in the space of 1 point. To incredibly good spikes, good blocking as well, and see how good she is from behind the service line.
1-all. Point Myanmar.
On the previous point, yes, Kiyosawa finished it off, but Toriumi with one of her retrieve from very close to the
2-1.
advertising hoarding. That was really good.
Point Myanmar.
Myanmar first to get the 2-point cushion that we like to talk about.
No.
When you're alternating services between one team and the other, you're expected to win points on when you're receiving service. So once you get that 2-point buffer, you know you've done something right. You know you've won a point on your own service, which is unexpected.
Just a clarification on whose turn it is to serve, I think.
All 4 players take it in turns to serve. Team A, Team B.
1-3.
Team A, player 2. Team B, player 2.
Point Myanmar.
How difficult is it for someone like Japan coming into this tournament facing Myanmar, who are obviously one of the strongest teams in the tournament?
Difficult. They've got a very good club system. It tends to be played at university level in Japan, and we've seen both men's and women's teams have former players as their coaches, players who have a lot of international experience, ISTAF international experience. Yano Chiharu and Terashima Takeshi for the men, and they play to a good standard at the universities. Obviously it's a big country and it's difficult to get the teams together to play against one another, and it was particularly difficult during the COVID era with lockdowns. The bigger the country, the more difficult it was. What a great rally that was, and Japan come out on top of it. So to summarise your question, you've just got to raise your game, and that's what these two are doing here.
And also the fact that the more matches they get against some of the bigger teams like Myanmar, Thailand, the better they'll get, with more exposure to higher quality Sepaktakraw.
That's the main purpose of this World Cup, and you've got, I hesitate to use the term, but development teams really from all around the world. We've got Brazil who've come here, New Zealand. We've just seen on another court an Alpine derby between Switzerland and Italy. So, and then obviously Switzerland earlier in the day played Thailand. So not really the sublime to the ridiculous, but you go from a local derby that you would play almost on club level in Europe to being on the biggest of stages and facing Thailand. And it can only make you better, and you're not necessarily going to win every match, but the cliche that is true is you win your development.
Yes, and that cliche is the motto for all the upcoming nations in any sport, particularly in a sport like Sepaktakraw. And it's really heartening to see here at the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup in Patna, all these teams come to the party. New Zealand, as you mentioned, we had Italy, Switzerland, Poland, Brazil. The men's team is here. This has been organized thanks to the effort of the Sepaktakraw Federation of India, alongside the Bihar government, the Bihar State Sports Authority, the Khel Vibhag, and we have a timeout.
Time's over. Players in.
In the semi-final, it's Myanmar leading 9-3 against Japan in the first set. This is the women's doubles event at the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025. Myanmar begins soon after the timeout.
Point Myanmar.
And Myanmar move into double figures soon after the timeout with that spike.
Service. Wait.
As we were talking about the developing countries, so to say, in Sepaktakraw, Brazil, New Zealand, USA, all of them don't quite have the culture of Sepaktakraw as we see in the Southeast Asian countries. And it's really great to see them on the world stage, and these are steps in the right direction.
That's the purpose of the World Cup, and you could almost say that India is a developing nation in terms of Sepaktakraw because it's not Southeast Asia, it's not a sport that is played naturally by kids out in dusty sandlots, which is the case in Myanmar, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore as well. And it's wonderful that India, and particularly the Sepaktakraw Federation of India, has made such an effort to develop the sport here and have it at all sorts of levels, at junior level, university level as well, to get it categorized as one of the sports of a higher level, meaning that players can be paid, get a paid job and then train alongside, so they can get government jobs, which enables them to develop and train the sport. The fact that we've had events in Hyderabad, in Delhi, now here in Patna, so all around, almost all around the country, really is testament to the hard work that's been put in by the Sepaktakraw Federation of India.
And one of the next targets also would be to find players in different parts of the country, because at the moment this game is majorly played in the eastern part of India. As it moves around the country, hopefully we will see players emerge from different regions as well.
12-4. Out. Point Myanmar.
Things getting away a little bit from Japan here. Timeout was taken a little bit earlier on, but Myanmar just racking up the points. Reminder, it's first of 15. And so Myanmar just 2 points away from taking this first set, which would see them halfway towards a final against India.
Out. Point Myanmar.
A fault leads to a set point for Myanmar. They will serve
Set point.
a long
14,
expected
4.
line, one would say, because Myanmar are the superior team. They've got to wait a bit. It was a very good spike by Makio Nagisa.
Set point. 5-40.
Makio now having to serve to keep her team in this first set.
All right.
Beautiful block, lands in. That's a couple of set points that they've saved, and you can see how much that meant to Yano, the coach. And we were saying earlier, win your development. You're not necessarily going to win this set, but win your development, save some set points, and
14-6.
get used to playing against good teams and saving set points against good teams, saving 3 of them in a row.
And Japan did that against India in their previous game, especially in the second set. When Kiyosawa came on, he was very good on the net.
7-40.
And all these performances count. As you said, win your development.
Right. Point Myanmar.
Myanmar have won the first set. It's 15-7. A convincing performance. So Japan are in a huddle there as Myanmar are halfway through
Ready?
to
Please.
the finals of the women's doubles event at the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025. तो दोस्तों आपको याद दिला दूं कि भारत ने अपनी जगह फाइनल में बना ली है. उन्होंने सेमीफाइनल में ईरान को हराया था. अब अगर यहाँ म्यांमार जीतेंगे
Myanmar
तो
to start
वो भी
now.
भारत का सामना करेंगे फाइनल में स्वर्ण पदक के लिए.
Point Japan. One low. Point Japan.
First 2 points go the way of Japan. That is something they wouldn't have been expecting, but they would have been
Now,
hoping for.
two.
So whatever Coach Yano said at the break, the change of ends between set 1 and set 2 certainly paid off. The fact that they're receiving service as well means that they've had the opportunity to
Three
go
low.
break, hold, break, as it were. They've got 3 points in a row.
All right. Point Japan.
Well, they've got a full house. They've won all 4 points. All 4 players take it in turns to serve. And Japan have won all 4 points. That's a brilliant block at the net there
Timeout
by
for Myanmar.
Makio. Timeout called, I think, already by Myanmar.
Is players ready? Time's over.
We're back after the timeout.
Players in.
Myanmar losing 4 points in a row
Substitution to Myanmar.
and maybe considering a substitution.
4 out.
Yes, they have made the substitution. And on comes Hin Wai. And off goes Ya Mong Zin. So substitution early into the second set. You were talking about the Japanese coach who is a former player.
Now 4.
What she must have told her team. I'm sure she wouldn't have told her team, win your development.
Point Myanmar.
Well, if you made it all the way to a semi-final, you're doing more than developing. And 4 points in a row there. The flow has been stopped, staunched with the 1 point there for Myanmar, but then certainly not backing down here, Japan. We saw that against India. They can win points in bunches, and they can get the better of teams that on paper are better than them. They took a set off India and could have got even closer
Point Japan.
to winning the group, but they're really on a roll at the moment.
I like the way Makio Nagisa finished that one. Didn't try to hit it hard. Intelligently done. She's a Tekong now.
Point Myanmar.
Well, we had a change in lineup for Japan at the start of this second set. Kiyosawa, the player who predominantly plays at the net, replaced by Toriumi. That seems to be paying off for them at the moment.
Point Myanmar.
Myanmar, though, perfectly capable of winning points in bunches themselves. Japan's lead was up to 5 points. It's down to 3. Myanmar receiving service here. Be looking to get that deficit down to 2, but that was a poor set. You could see how annoyed with herself Piu Tan was. That was a very, very low set. That gave Nin Wai far too much to do.
He's just approached the referee's desk.
Might be saying that, I don't know which of the two players, whether it was Makio or Toriumi, actually up to the net and might have touched it. In which case, there needs to be an official challenge. Well, 7-3. Still the score in favour of Japan.
This is good to see. The India matches are done, but the crowd are still around. And that's the kind of interest that we want to see for the sport of Sepaktakraw here in Patna, Bihar, hosting the World Cup, a big event coming to this historic city.
So the point has been reversed. So there must have been a touch of the net. So the lead of Japan went down to just 6-4, and imagine if Myanmar had got that point there and got to within 1 point, but no, Japan not backing down. They have a point taken away from them in seemingly slightly controversial circumstances, and they just get right back out there. Another great block at the net by Makio. How about that wonderful scrambling there by Nin Wai, going way wide and winning a point she had no right to.
Seven-5. Out. Point Myanmar.
Whenever Japan have been getting points, the crowd is getting behind them. They know that Myanmar is the stronger team. And you can hear the cheer. You always want to see one of these emerging teams do well. And the crowd here, now that they've seen a lot of Sepaktakraw across the last 3 days, they understand that for Japan, a good performance here, it's worth its weight in gold.
8-6. Point Myanmar.
They won that point almost despite themselves there, Myanmar. You could see there was hesitation, and it ended up being a winner via header by Piu Tan. But the set wasn't quite in the right place. They're a little bit out of sorts at the moment. They've already taken their time out. They've already used their substitution as well. So they're going to have to sort this out themselves. There's nothing else they can do in terms of using the rules to slow things down or change things around. The only thing we can have is a timeout called by Japan, and that is what we are having at the moment.
Yeah. Ready, time over, players. Players in. Players in. Time over. Japan to serve.
So now it's purely down to the players. Both coaches, the coaches on either side have taken the timeouts. I suppose theoretically we could have a change, a substitution for Japan. Myanmar have already used theirs, so it's up to the 4 players out there at the moment.
That was very well done by Japan. The initial save just came off the body of Makio. The spike to finish. Has a bit of a laugh about that one.
So Japan winning a point on their own service. 8-all, of course, it's first to 15. The nearer you get to the end of the set, the more precious it is to win points on your own service, because you're expected to win them on your opponent's service. And all of a sudden, there's that 2-point cushion again. Again, Myanmar, they're winning points despite themselves. That really wasn't the best set from Bhutan, but it ended up being beautifully spiked by Nin Wai. Had to come a long way back. It was good tape service as well from Makio. So, really good takraw all round.
Japan continue to fight. Makio Nagisa, when she's come in fact in this game, she has performed very well. In their previous encounter against India, she was replaced by Yumi, and Yumi had done very well then.
Right, fine Myanmar.
Myanmar keeping them honest. It's going to be interesting to see whether any nerves creep in the Japan team. I wouldn't have thought so. Myanmar need to get this back. Level pegging, they need to win a point on service, and that's why there was a gamble there from Bhutan. And the problem is, when it doesn't come off, all of a sudden your opponents are on 12 and only 3 points away from taking it to a decider.
12-10.
Better set there, far nearer the net, and Nin Wai, that was really in her comfort zone.
This is going to be a big point now. Myanmar have to really win this one off their own serve, isn't it? But they won't. Again, Makio Nagisa on the net. That setup wasn't very close to the net though, yet she managed to get enough onto that.
At the moment, Makio, wherever you put the ball for her, she seems to be putting it in the right place. So almost a free hit here for her teammates, Toriumi.
Incredible. The initial block was good. The setup allowed Makio to take Japan to set point.
They're not playing well, Myanmar, at the moment. They've looked incredibly unsteady since the second timeout. They're not spiking well. They're going to make a very late change. Really is a last throw of the dice.
Set point 11-40. Out. Point Japan.
What a turnaround this has been. Japan have won the second set 15-11. In the first, Myanmar dominated, won that 15-7, but now Japan, what a performance. This is what keeps us hooked to the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025. Don't go anywhere, because it's Japan 1, Myanmar 1 in the semi-final of the women's doubles event at the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025 in Bihar. This is the decider. The third set in the women's semi-final of the doubles event at the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025. शुरुआत में हमें ऐसे लगा था कि म्यांमार यहाँ पे आसानी से मुकाबला अपने नाम कर लेंगे. पहला सेट जो है उन्होंने 15-7 से जीता था, मगर दूसरे सेट में जिस प्रकार जापान ने एक कमबैक किया, यहाँ जो दर्शक मौजूद है सबने उसका मजा उठाया. और अभी तीसरे सेट में भी शुरुआत जापान ने बहुत अच्छी की है उस ब्लॉक के साथ.
Just a reminder, it's the same format. It's first to 15 points. If we're level at 14 all, we'll go first to 17. It's going to have to be 2 points clear. And whoever gets to 8 first will lead us over to the other side, because we'll have a change of ends. So Japan looking like they're the more likely to do it at the moment. They've taken the momentum from the second set, carrying it over into the third. And again, whoever wins this meets India in the final. Imagine if it were to be Japan. Japan, who played India a couple of hours ago in the group stages and pushed them all the way. And they're a mere 13 points away from setting up a rematch with a gold medal at stake.
Myanmar have to get their focus back and really hit hard. Well, talking about that, I remember during one of the Asian Games where Japan, the men's team, won the hockey gold medal. This was ahead of India, Pakistan, South Korea, the nations that you'd expect to take the gold.
I think that one landed just in. I think that was an incredible block by Mong Zin. Mong, who came on with just 1 point to go at the end of the second set, enabling her to start the third set rather than having a substitution used to bring her on. They used that substitution because she can make one per set.
3-2.
And so ahead of a potential third set, she was brought on. It leaves a substitution available for Myanmar in this third set. Japan, of course, have their substitution as well. So if they want to, they can bring Kurosawa back on. Why would you, is my question, because Makio has been playing so well. There she is in the number 1 jersey. 3-3.
The change to bring on Makio has worked in this match, and I agree with you. There's no need to get Yumi back into play, although she was the more effective player in the match against India.
4-3. Point Japan.
The Patlipurna Sports Complex, the venue for the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025, still packed. All eyes on this semi-final between Japan and Myanmar. Good to see the crowd encouraging Japan to do well.
Point Myanmar.
Yes, those who have stayed have all massed behind court 1. You can see them there on screen. You can just see court 2 to the right of your screen.
Point 4. Point Japan.
Nothing to choose between these two teams. Myanmar dominating the first, Japan running out to a 4-0 lead in the second, and then taking that all the way home, winning it by 4 points. And how about that? A point won on service. And of course, it's by Makio, who's been the star performer in this match.
At what point will the Myanmar bench start feeling a bit nervous?
Right now, I'd say. Particularly if this can be converted. Oh, it can't. So everyone's getting the nerves. See, it's been 10 points in a row that were won against service, which is what you would expect. And then Japan finally hold on service. Myanmar do exactly the same.
6-all.
No one getting that 2-point cushion.
Point Myanmar.
Another question for you. I've read about this in other sport where if some of the weaker teams, may I say, get into good winning position against the superior one, then they start thinking.
7-6.
Because that's when the real possibility of winning
Point
dawns
Japan.
in their mind. And then the mistakes happen. Have you seen that happen in Sepaktakraw as well?
There are times when people take a set off Thailand and then think, good grief, we might be able to do this. I saw Malaysia get perilously close and ended up losing a tight 5-setter back when we had 5 sets, and that was the ISTAF Super Series held in Malacca, a beautiful city around halfway down Malaysia. And it was wonderful to go there, and it would have been even more wonderful had Malaysia won it, the men's team that is, the Regu winning it, and they were so close to winning the final there, and just choked really when I think the occasion got to them. Japan not choking at the moment. They're the ones with their noses in front, and they're the ones who have the psychological advantage of leading at the change of ends, but it's still, well, they've actually got the advantage here because it's Myanmar serving. So they're going to put the ball in Japan's court, and Japan with the opportunity to open that 2-point cushion.
And that cushion gets even bigger with that wonderfully executed spike. So important for Japan to hold their nerve, to continue to believe that they can go all the way.
7.
They look pretty calm at the moment. Zen, if I might say.
Point Myanmar.
which is why I brought in that hockey Asian game story right here, because Japan, no one had expected their men to win the gold medal, yet they did. This was in 2018.
Myanmar pull it back level. Japan with 2 points clear. Well, it was a first to 15 showdown. We've got to 9 all, so it's basically a first to 6, a best of 11. But who would back against this going to 14 all and being extended to 17? How good would that be for the final match of this third day of the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025? Very close to the nets, close but not over. Nervous times for the quadrant players of Japan, who have been made part of this double squad.
10-9.
Is it pressure talking now? Is it pressure? It was a golden opportunity for Japan to level things again.
It was great work by Mong Zin. She got right up close to the nets, stuck her foot out, and it's forced Japan into a timeout. They find themselves 2 points adrift. A 1 minute timeout taken by Yano Chiharu, the coach of Japan, and she didn't talk through a lot of it. There's no point just filling it with a minute's worth of empty words. She just obviously wanted to get a quick message across and then allow her players to take a breath, remain calm. What they really need to do now is get a point back on service. Toriumi, what can she do?
What a block! And Japan have won that point courtesy some brilliance by Makio Nagisa on the net. But there's a challenge, looks like.
Are they saying that Makio put her leg across the net, over the net, and blocked the ball when it was still on the Myanmar side of the court? It was an immediate call. You could see straight away that Putan called for it. The second it happened, she turned round to her bench.
Both the team officials.
I think it's going to be an unsuccessful call as far as Myanmar are concerned, because you can see that they are talking to Tut Kaing Nue and saying, look, it didn't happen, explaining to him why the challenge hadn't worked.
Point to Japan.
बस एक बार दर्शकों को बताने के लिए कि अगर आप नेट पर है तो बॉल से संपर्क करने से पहले आपके शरीर का कोई भी अंग नेट के उस पार जा नहीं सकता। तो यहाँ म्यांमार ने उसी के लिए रेफरल लिया था।
Responding in kind, Myanmar, a block at the net, and they restore the 2-point cushion, and they're getting nearer and nearer to a place in the final against India. I reckon India would prefer Japan to get through because they've already beaten them. India would probably be more nervous facing Myanmar. I'm sure they would like Japan to do them a favour and knock Myanmar out. Another challenge. Everyone throwing the challenge coin into the ring at the moment. Why not? Myanmar have lost their challenge. Yano Chiharu has decided to use hers for Japan. Why not? In for a penny, in for a pound. And I think she might have worked the oracle here. Is it going to be 10-12 or is it going to be 11 all? Looked like the video referee had come to a decision and Coach Tut is trying to talk him out of it. And he might have succeeded in doing that. Coach Yano looking disappointed with the outcome. Myanmar 3 points from victory. Japan now with it all to do. They need to win points on service. Managed to do it a couple of points ago. Can they do it again?
The line referee just indicated that it's got to be Makio Nagisa who's got to serve instead of Toriumi.
Great attempted block, but the spike was even better. And Myanmar edge even closer to a showdown with India for gold medal. Staying alive, it was popped over the top beautifully and I think lands on the... Oh, it was a hand. So a hand stuck out as a reflex action by Mongzin. And we're having the final timeout and it's been called by Myanmar.
We're into the final phase of the semi-final of the women's doubles event at the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup 2025. Japan have been fantastic, but up against Myanmar. Oh, this has been an enthralling contest. The crowd is still here. As Toriumi, the Japanese captain, dons the role of the Tekong. And that's match point for Myanmar. Japan have had their moments, but Myanmar have worked their way back in this third set and are only a point away as they serve for a place in the final against India. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant there by Makio Nagisa.
Still match point, but we're talking earlier about win your developments. If they don't win the match here, then how about that for development? Stepping up and keeping your team alive.
Myanmar are through to the final of the women's doubles event at the ISTAF Sepaktakraw World Cup. They've been made to work very hard by a spirited Japanese team who took them into the third set. And in the third set as well, Japan were leading for a major part until Myanmar returned and surged ahead to make their way into the final. Emotions, raw emotions. Japan know that they had an opportunity. One can almost feel for them.
Delight for Myanmar, and they're taking it all in their stride. They were expected to make it through to the final, and it really is heartbreak for Japan. They were so close. They led 8-7. It was 10-all. They were just 5 points away, and then maybe nerves got a little bit the better of them towards the end. I'd say it was just Myanmar stepping up and playing to their best level. But really, full credit to Japan. They're going to get a bronze medal. There could have been more. Wonderful performance by them, but Myanmar it is who make it through to the final, where they will face India on the start of day 4.
As Myanmar head out of the court, let's reflect on the moment they sealed their passage through to the final. Applauded by the Myanmar men's team as well. And a bow of respect there from the Japanese women's team. It has been an enthralling day of Sepaktakraw here in Patna. And we are waiting for a lot more here.